How's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Buns and Thighs podcast, hosted by Tim and Duncan. This is a personal trainer and company production. Welcome to the show and enjoy.
So I had really only done cardio up until that point to maintain some semblance of health. And so I thought, I need to get into weightlifting and social media. There are certain exercises that circulate a lot, and deadlifts are one of them. So I thought that's the kicker, whatever. Yeah. That's the one that I need to do. So I think I even Googled it or maybe looked it up on YouTube.
Like how to deadlift without killing myself.
Yeah, how to deadlift form or something. And whoever was on the internet, whatever I looked up, they were telling me how to do it. So I kind of went down and I tried to get the, what do you call them? It was a mini bar or something. It wasn't even like the barbell with I
call those mini bars. It's ones in the gyms where they have plates fused to them and they go anywhere from 20 pounds to, it's like a dumbbell but longer, about 4 feet or 3 feet long. I call those mini bars. That's it.
Yes. So it wasn't even an actual bar that you can put the plates on. It was one of the mini bars.
How much weight were you using?
90.
Okay.
Yeah, 90 pounds was all. And I shimmied it up or something and literally felt a pinch right away. And all the breath came out of me. And I just, had to drop it. And then I was out of commission for 2 months. No joke. It was the summertime. I was a school administrator at the time. So what I would literally do is make calls to schedule interviews and do all of my work laying down on the floor in my office. And my boss came in at one point and was a little perturbed at that. That's unprofessional. I'm I don't know what to tell you. It hurts a lot.
Do you want me to be home or do you want me to grade these kids' papers? Come on.
Yeah. So I have avoided deadlifts for literally 6 years now because
Until today.
Technically Thursday.
Well, technically Thursday,
but today was an improvement.
Do you know how much weight you lifted today?
Not off the top of my head. I could probably figure it out.
205.
Whoa, no, really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. No, really?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. You did 205.
I did 205. Cool. Disclaimer for all of you. I shouldn't be, lecturing the clientele base. But if you're one of those people who's that's nothing, I could do 400 pounds. I don't care. This is a victory for me. Be happy for me. Well, it was more than I could do before.
Let me tell you this. It is a very, it's always a personal track.
Yeah.
And 205 is a lot for somebody that was afraid to do 90 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
And 205 it didn't even seem like a lot, but 1 pound over and it seems like a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so we tried, what you tried was 30 pounds over that. It was 240.
Yeah, that didn't go as well, but 205? Okay, yeah. I'm happy. Yeah.
Okay. And anyways, continue.
So, the doggies, beckon.
Do you remember the question I asked you downstairs where I was by the way, the gym's in my basement. Do you remember the question I asked you downstairs where I was all right, what did you think deadlifts were? And what are they now?
Yeah.
Same question.
Hopefully I can articulate it more clearly. I rambled quite a bit before I found my footing with that answer before. So essentially the only time that I'd ever seen deadlifts before, I'd never really seen anyone doing them at the gym. I had only ever seen it online or on social media but I had only ever seen it in more a powerlifting type context. So I had just assumed that it was this end all be all juggernaut of an exercise that, I don't know, Mountain Olympus or Mount Everest or something.
Yeah.
Whereas now, this has really shown me that it is, it probably can be formidable if you don't have good form. In fact, we've talked a lot about making sure that you maintain good form. But once you have that installed and habitual, it's just a really good full body exercise that's not,
I kind of want to jump on that a little bit. I want to really dive into, and I don't really think I explained this during our session. I was going to wait till next session, but we're doing the podcast right after a session. So deadlift and row have something highly in common. It is a posture creator. Whatever you do, whatever posture that you lift in when you row and when you deadlift, and especially deadlift, that is the posture that you create. And so somebody with bad posture, even though if they're thinking that they're doing good form, they're still already out of form. Because their hips are too tight. They won't be able to get into the alignment that they need to in order to lift 500 pounds safely. And so starting low on deadlift, it's not about strength. It's about fixing your posture. And so did you notice that we stayed low for a while, and at the very end, that's when we did 205. That's when...
Yeah, you kept me at an incredibly low weight. And I think I even asked you, like, oh, can I put more on? No. Oh, well, when can I put more weight on? I think your response was...
when you're perfect.
Yeah, like, you're almost there, but it's not there yet. So no, you keep it at that weight until it's perfect. Yeah.
And did you notice that every single time that you were at that weight, or you were at that certain weight, let's say it's 115 or 135. You were at 135 and we were just playing around with that, but every single time you were shifting and rotating internally and getting into position and and trying it again and again and again. And every single time it got a little easier and a little easier. And you noticed that it was not stimulating the muscle that you thought it would. You told me that it was gonna all be in your lower back and your butt. And
that's where I felt it before.
Right. Where did you
injured myself
after today? Where do you think that you felt it like not the most? Where all do you think you felt deadlift stimulating?
Good question. Yes.
And the inner thigh?
Yes. Oh yeah, the inner thigh. Oh God, forgot about that one.
Okay. Did you feel it in the glutes?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
It always feels like an accomplishment. You're like,
yeah,
I'm gonna.
Did you feel it? Did you feel it in the quads?
I don't remember. Was I supposed to?
Whenever you're so there's two parts to a deadlift. The pressing motion during a traditional deadlift. Remember, you're not hinging yet until you reach the bar to your knees, and then you're pressing with your legs, and that's with the quads. Okay, we did a drill for climbing. We did a climbing drill beforehand. So we have there's a rock wall behind my house, and so the drill was to climb up the rock wall and then walk down the steps, and that was to actually warm up most of the muscles for deadlift. And the quads are going to be either the first thing that you feel in a deadlift if you're doing it wrong, or the last thing that you feel in a deadlift if you're doing it right. If you're doing it right, that means that you're at a much lower level of weight, and you're focusing on the smaller muscles. You're focusing on all of the mobility and postural muscles, stabilization muscles, for perfecting your deadlift. Not trying to get it all now, but really trying to set up a good structure so that you can reach that 500-pound deadlift. But you're going to be confident when you do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else you want to add on to the deadlift conversation?
Yes.
Okay. I was like...
yes. Eyes. So I had caught that I was instinctively... how do I put it? Like, I was getting into form, and then when I would start to lower, my neck was going up. Yes. I did not even realize that I was doing this until you called attention to it. And then it became very apparent, because then obviously every time you do it, you notice it, where you're like, okay, getting right. Wait, whoa, no. And you had told me... And
that's a problem that almost every single one of my clients has ever had, is when they try to deadlift, they try to crane their neck up. And it creates an basically you're doing this while you're trying to lift hundreds of pounds.
Oh.
Yeah.
Reminds me of, those nature videos where like baby bird is like looking up for mama to feed him warm?
Yeah.
Don't do that while deadlifting, apparently.
Yeah, anyways, continue.
And you'd said to look, basically, where your nipples are pointing, your nose should be pointing also.
Right.
to maintain
1980s
Batman. 1980s Batman. The best Batman, by the way.
Heck yeah.
Fight me. No, don't. You'll win.
Well, give me a few more months.
Oh, yeah, darn. Give me a few more months, then I'll be formidable. But yeah, I guess what you were getting at was neutral spine. Did I get that right?
Yeah, neutral spine. So you want your neck to not be craned. You want your chin down, your head up. You don't want your head jutted back, craned back whatsoever. You want to, when you're bent over, basically be in a Japanese bow. And in Japan, it's rude to like look up while you're bowing because it means you don't trust them. That's basically what I imagine whenever I'm doing a deadlift. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I have a new physical type goal for myself. You just did it. Did you crack your knuckles one hand?
Yeah.
I'm gonna be able to do that someday. Yeah.
I don't know if that's a strength thing or it's onset arthritis thing. I don't know.
Whatever it is, it has an intimidation factor that I could use.
So kind of going off topic a little bit. Let me tell you about buying a house. Like, oh my gosh.
So you're gonna go for 1980s Batman some more?
No. Buying a house in Colorado Springs is insane, especially right now. I don't know when you're listening to this, but it's 2023 and it's about like mid-year. And geez Louise, it like every single time that so me and my girlfriend has put in 7 offers, and every single time, I'm talking within 3 hours, we'll get a call back from a realtor and be like, yeah, it's already under contract. Like one went into the market and within 2.5 hours, it was under contract by these big shark corporation realtor companies that are just buying them up. And they're not even buying them up. I've watched them come off of contract. All they're doing is putting them under contract so that they can buy their time and wait. Yeah, they're like every single time one comes on, they literally go send somebody out. They don't even look at it. Like I know for a fact that I was the first one to look at it, and then within the hour, it's under contract without anyone even looking at it. And then in about a week later, it was back on the market, and then another one would do the same thing. So they're just like blipping all over the place. So, but we finally found a house that we're under contract on now. And it's right across from a dog park. So my German Shepherds are going to be happy. Yeah. And it's got great value. Oh, we're doing the appraisal Monday. And so I'll get back to you on that. But
oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. A lot. It's been a long time coming. And a lot of effort and a lot of stress. Buying the house itself is also stressful because all these deadlines and paperwork, and now we got to find insurance and all that. And it's a meth test. Yeah. Huh? Yeah. If you buy a house in Colorado, it's a very good idea to do a meth test.
Make sure that the house has not been like a previous meth lab?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought that was only Albuquerque.
No.
That's where I'm from. I'm allowed to say that.
I'm from Mossy Head, Florida. That's the meth capital of Florida. So yeah.
Yeah, but I don't actually know how prominent meth is of an issue in Albuquerque, but I do know that we are famous for Breaking Bad. So generally people are like, oh, Heisenberg. Oh, I actually look like that when I have sunglasses on.
Well, actually, there was Project Avalanche by the FBI down in Mossy Head, Florida. And basically, they just raided literally 38 trailers in Mossy Head at midnight. Yeah. Or something. It was this obscene number of it was just raid. And you just heard sirens everywhere. Like the clouds were blue and red. Yeah.
This was in your lifetime?
Yeah.
Oh. In your adulthood?
Yeah. Oh. Well, I think I was about 21, maybe 22. And one of them was across the street at my buddy's house. And I usually stayed at his house. So, I was like 18. So yeah. Yeah, so it was about 10 years ago, 11 years ago.
Yeesh.
Yeah.
Is that like not to be crass about it, but is that like a hit the deck type moment? Like when the cops are doing such a raid, it's like, just get down on the ground because you don't know what's going to happen or what's going to be flying?
No, that is since it wasn't our house, it wasn't like stuff like that. You close your doors and mind your business. That's what that is.
Let the law do what it's supposed to.
First rule of the hood: you don't. If you hear a loud noise, just shut the blinds and turn up the TV. Mind your business. Mm-hmm. I'm actually going to look up Project Avalanche. Hold on.
Cool. I'll talk about my latest muffin recipe. It was the first thing that came to mind. Wasn't particularly funny. See?
Real quick. Walton County Sheriff's Office, Florida, WCSO, Operation Avalanche. I'm not pulling this out of my ass.
I didn't think you were, but...
executes 21 arrests. The Walton County Sheriff's Office Criminal Investigation Bureau, the Patrol Bureau had blah, blah, blah. This morning, Wednesday, at 5:30 a.m. was the ending. Was the when it was ended. So I think it started somewhere around like 12 or 1 a.m. Yeah.
Well, I hope they got what they were looking for.
Controlled substances, including pharmaceutical medications, methamphetamines, cocaine, PCP. Like, holy crap! that's where I grew up. Basically, everyone in like a podunk kind of town, there's nothing to do but to make babies and do drugs. And,
you know who could have helped with that? 1980s Batman.
1980s Batman.
Michael Keaton was going to save the world, damn you.
But what were you saying?
I have no clue. I got distracted by my joke about... It's not a joke. Michael Keaton was the best Batman. He had charisma. Not saying the others didn't, but he was the best.
So I did want to talk about one thing today. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to ask you a question as if you were the trainer. Okay? And we'll see how you would respond. Because you represent, in my mind at least for this podcast, you represent...
the Lollipop Guild?
The average Joe, like the non-personal trainer community. Okay?
Yeah.
The client, the person that is interested in fitness but has not yet dedicated their life fully towards it. I'm talking like for a job, for a career, things like that. Delve deep into the sciences of it. So you represent the average community, okay? Mm-hmm. Let's say that you have kids, you have a job that has a lot of hours, you go to church, there's like just obligations all over the place, right?
Oh yeah.
And you barely have time for anything. And then when you do have time, it's not for yourself, it's with your kids or your wife or whatever. And how are you going to fit in fitness? How are you even going to attempt it? This is a
hypothetical, but it's on my own.
I've had many conversations with people like this.
Firstly, this is a good one. I suppose as a personal trainer, first I'd need to know what kind of time constraints we were working on, because to me, it doesn't really make sense for you to commit to 5 days a week in the gym if it doesn't really make sense. Right. Once we've been able to narrow down, okay, so you can 100% no takesies, backsies, commit to 2 days, put those in the calendar, you observe them.
What if they rebuttal with you being like, I literally don't have any time? And they're in the hopeless stage. They are not in the contemplative stage yet. Oh. They're in the, like, there ain't no way in hell I can do any of that. Right now, we're talking to the people that they wish they could, but they believe that they can't.
Which that does happen quite a bit. I hear this all the time. Like, well, I just don't have time for X, Y, Z.
Right.
Generally, what I want to tell them is to look at their screen time and see how much time they've been wasting. But that's not a very good people skill. Turns people off. But someone is resigned to the fact that they don't have enough time. I suppose I would either try to start with, okay, can you allot 10 minutes, 15 minutes, something.
That's a really good answer.
For you to get active, or see if there's time that you can potentially like overlap. Like potentially, I'm going to make it up. So let's say business person, you got calls to make. okay, you're sitting for an hour straight. I'm not saying that you're going to be doing squats while you're sitting making those calls. That's doesn't seem very intuitive. But is there any time when you can kind of overlap it with something else that is physical or active? Does that make sense?
Yeah, makes perfect sense.
Same thing with like, I have found, me personally, I really do like journaling. I am that guy. I like journaling. I like writing. And so I had preserved this thing in the morning time before I really got into a gym habit where I would wake up and I'd say, I'm going to center myself today and I'm going to do some journaling activities and think about this, that, the other, whatever it was. And then it occurred to me quite a bit after that, why do I have to do that like sitting down? You know, it maybe isn't the most socially approved habit to use your voice to text thing while you're in a gym setting, but like get on an elliptical, do something active, and then kind of scroll down your thoughts. I'll bring that up because it was my example of a thing that I realized, I'm doing this while stationary, can I do this while active? So I guess those would be my two approaches, is the thing I literally just said, and can you preserve smaller portions? Both of them? Sure. Is there anything that you are doing currently stationary that you can do while active, so we can, you know, put some activity in your day? And is there any spare change, or not just is there spare change, but how much time are you willing to allot? And if they say 15 minutes twice a week, that's measly, but 15 minutes twice a week is better than 0 minutes.
In my experience, everybody has 15 minutes twice a week. Whenever I talk to somebody and they're like, well, I just don't have time to commit to a gym, and they're thinking hour and a half, 3 days a week. They're thinking hour and a half, like at least 15 minutes to drive to the gym, get changed, all that. And then it's just excuse city. Mm-hmm. And not to sound harsh, but it is. It's just excuse city. Mm-hmm. And they're just like, I can't do this and I can't do that. And this is in the way. No, it's not. Mm-hmm. Because, and I don't want to sound harsh. You know what I mean? Most people have 15 minutes twice a week.
Yeah.
And that, what you just did on the hill, that was HIIT. If you can't do anything else, you can do 15 minutes of HIIT twice a week, and that is going to have a positive impact. Now, you're not going to get shredded from 15 minutes twice a week, but you will get healthier. You will get some benefits from it. As soon as I said healthier, you coughed. You will get some benefits from it, and it's a start towards you pointing your importance arrow towards health and fitness and your own self-care. And so most people have 15 minutes twice a week. That's where I would start. So you were on the right track when you were talking about that. I wouldn't even start with any exercise except for walking. What I would do is see how many times can they fit in a 15-minute walk. That does not require them to drive anywhere. It does not require them to have any preparation except for putting their shoes on. Go for a 15-minute walk, and a lot of times that turns into a 30-minute walk or even a 45-minute walk because you're already out there. The goal should be small, and then every now and then, when you're whimsical about it, it grows into something bigger. And then that itself gains traction and momentum without any extra effort. I don't know if you've noticed this, but my training style is biggest gain with the smallest amount of effort.
Which I appreciate.
Yeah.
Because I was one of those people who thought that in order to have a certain body type, very unlike what I currently found myself to have, that you had to be packed into a gym for 2 hours or so a day. Right.
And there are people like on YouTube that tell people anything under a 2-hour workout is useless. That is, sorry.
I have heard that before.
That's horseshit. that is the most deterring thing I have ever heard anyone in a fitness leadership position say. That is like someone that doesn't even like consider themselves having time or even the effort, or they just think fitness is out of their reach. Then they hear that's going to confirm their bias.
Yeah, if you think that you have to take up a part-time job essentially, or the same amount of hours in order to get healthy, then it's like, I'll stay fat.
Right. And they're like, well, and they always associate fitness and working out and losing weight and getting fitter as painful and as punishment and as like, I don't want to do all that.
There is that too.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm going to ask you this, and I want you to be honest. Okay. How has your experience been so far with this entire journey? Has it been painful? Has it been a negative experience? Or have you found... I don't want to lead your answer, so go ahead.
All right. I plead the fifth.
You plead the fifth?
No.
And if it has been negative, let me know, because I'm a trainer.
See? But no, has not been negative. I mean, obviously, not every not every training session is a pleasant experience. Especially, I seem to remember a couple weeks ago when I'd gone down for, like you'd said, okay, just do 2 squats, and it was like the really high weight. You know the day. And I went down, and I went down, and I was like, yay. And you're like, cool, 5 more. Daggers out of the eyes. That wasn't a pleasant experience. But overall, no, absolutely. And I feel like it's been a great experience for more than just being able to lift more or fitting into the shirts that I couldn't fit into. That's actually a really nice perk. But it's clearing up a lot of different mindset issues. And again, not just on the physical front. Like, you know how we live in this culture that's very into their daily affirmations. You write it on the mirror. It's success principles. One of the ones that my sister currently does. My sister has 3 kids, 6, 4, and 2 months. And with the 2 boys, the older ones, she does the daily affirmations. And one of them is like, I can do hard things, or I can do difficult or challenging things. Something like that. I think this has kind of proved that to me, because every step of this journey, I've come up to some kind of physical barrier. Some of them which I knew about, like my fear of the deadlift, my fear of the squat, my distaste of the squat. Others that I didn't realize were kind of dormant. And every time I've been able to overcome those, and it really empowers you to think, okay, well, I've already come this far, and I've already seen my body do things that 5 months ago I didn't think it was ever going to be able to do. So it kind of stimulates a bit of a curiosity, like, what else could my body do if I have the right instruction and I have the right, I guess, grit or work ethic behind it?
Okay. No, I like that answer. Basically, you've opened up a curiosity that before you thought was an impossibility.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it's saying like, oh, I can never be that. I'm just hoping to lose like 20 pounds. And then you see what is possible. And you're like, oh, wow, this is a whole thing. Like, this is one big giant like adventure and skill that the only thing stopping me is if I stop learning. Mm-hmm. That's it. Like, you just keep learning more, and like learning what's right, what's wrong, and what's unique to you, and what uniquely affects you. Yeah, I like that answer.
Cool.
So.
Do I get a discount?
No. Back to the hypothetical. Try to come up with 15 minutes for time allotment twice a week, just for walking, so there's no pressure on it. Second step was changing that 15 minutes to be worth more than just walking.
Yes.
Start lifting. Third step was accountability, outside accountabilities and self-accountability. And then fourth was trying to grow that 15 minutes into at least an hour, so that like by the time you get to the fourth step, all of this stuff you've been doing for a month now, and it's easier to find a little bit more time for it because it's not so in the distance. It's not an idea anymore. It's something you're actually doing. Mm-hmm.
So Darren Hardy, actually, I lent you a book by him called The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. But the compound effect goes over something very similar, where it says, I think your first 2 steps were consistency and incrementality, something like that. Some of the examples that it gives are quite aligned with that. So one example that it gives is this woman who I think she was like a high-performing executive, and I just don't have time, like where would I find the time, that type deal. And she committed to walking around the block once a day. It's like, not much at all. But
That's exactly what I was saying.
exactly, that's why, like, while you're saying this, I'm like, you're summarizing a book I read once or twice. But then, kind of on a dietary front, and that kind of opens up a can of worms, but one of the things that the book talks about, or one of the examples it gives, is there are two friends. Let's take for granted that they are metabolically, whatever. They're basically identical in all of those ways to kind of have a control group there. Okay. So let's say one of them decides to make just one tiny itty bitty, somewhat infinitesimal habit change, which is, I'm going to drink like one less soda a day. Mm. So let's say he always has a, I don't know, Dr. Pepper or something. I'm just not going to have a Dr. Pepper. So it's the idea that even though that was such an insignificant change, it compounds over time. So the man who was cutting out 100 calories, after 6 months, honestly isn't really seeing much of a difference. After 12 months, moderate difference. 24 months, pretty significant difference. 36 months, potentially he's down like, I think the numbers were, they calculated like 33 pounds, something like that. And the other guy, again, little by little, there wasn't really a significant change. So 12 months later, maybe he's a little bit more sluggish, a little soggy around the middle. 36 months later, he's stairs are now his mortal enemy. And if you look at kind of the trajectory that both of these friends have taken with just a tiny little change in their lifestyle, there's actually like a 66-pound difference between them.
Yeah.
And
so
that's,
do you know how many calories are in a pound of fat?
No.
3,500.
Pound of fat.
Ugh. That's a good thing to know. Because let's put it this way: if you took out 100 calories from your diet a day, it would take 35 days to lose a pound of fat. Oh. If you were eating at your basal metabolic rate, right? And then you were in a deficit of 100 calories, then that is, you're eating at, let's say your baseline is 2,000. Okay, your basal metabolic rate is at 2,000. So it takes 2,000 for you to survive. And then you're eating at 2,600 because an extra 600 for activity and all that. Let's say you're evening out. That's maintenance. And then instead you're eating at 2,500. You're now in a 100 deficit. It would take 35 days for you to lose a pound of fat.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. I like where you're going with this because a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't think that they have to be in a severe deficit of like
all kale.
Right. They have to be eating like 800 to 1,200 calories a day, being in a 1,000 calorie deficit. But the thing is, their basal metabolic rate is going to dip and try to meet that as well. And so, the lower you eat, your metabolism tries to meet it as well. And then the more you eat, your metabolism tries to rise and meet that as well.
It is not a recommendation for lifestyle change necessarily.
No offense to the internet, but the internet is literal. And they're going to be like, oh,
he said do this, and I didn't see a result yet. That means he's spreading fake news.
Right. So anyways, continue. I just wanted to make sure that people knew that if you go into, because they're going to be like, well, if I took out 1,000 calories, I would lose a pound every 3.5 days. Oh.
I was really hoping to get back to...
Oh, you want to keep... Oh, okay.
Michael Keaton.
All right, go for it. Go for it.
I was partially joking, but I'm going to get nerdy about it.
All right, go ahead.
So, for young people, if you don't know who Michael Keaton is, he is the man. Check out a movie that he was in about 7 or 8 years ago now called... Sorry, struggling with vocal cords right now. Birdman. Weirdly meta movie for him. But anyway... For an actor, I don't want to say that he's old, but for an actor of maybe a little bit more advanced of an age, he is still so energetic and manic, and he has such screen presence, which, how do you even quantify that? But I remember, well, I don't remember because I was born in the year 1989, which is when the original Batman came out. Was it 89 or 90? It was 89 because Beetlejuice was 88.
Yeah, I think it was 89.
And I think Edward Scissorhands, it doesn't matter, Tim Burton filmography. But there was a lot of I guess, apprehension around putting Michael Keaton in the role of Batman, because people were like, well, he's not exactly leading man status. I mean, look at him. He's not this supermodel looks type guy. Although he's got these epic eyebrows. You know, he's got this look.
Epic eyebrows.
He's got the epic eyebrows. Mine, you can barely see that they're even there. Actually, I had someone the other day even ask, like, you have eyebrows? I'm like, yeah, get closer. They're there. But Michael Keaton, I don't know. He just had a cool factor. He disagrees. He's leaving me.
No. I'm grabbing the mouse.
No, you're good. So Michael Keaton just had a cool factor. I think Val Kilmer, serviceable. Sorry, Val. George Clooney. George, you know that no one counts the... what was the director's name? I can't think of it for anything, but that guy, whoever made those movies, no one counts those as the cream of the crop for Batman. It's really going to bug me if I can't think of the guy's name, though. And then...
You can look stuff up.
I could totally do that, but I like challenging myself. It's the director of Time to Kill. What is your name? Joel Schumacher. Ha! Didn't even have to wait till it got up. Yeah, no one counts the Joel Schumacher movies as the cream of the crop for Batman. But then Christopher Nolan came around and kind of reinvigorated it. And I do admit that Christian Bale...
Edward the Vampire.
Not just yet. So... Christian Bale reinvigorated.
I never even saw that one, by the way.
Oh, I didn't either, but I still have... We're fighting. We're tussling about that one. So Christian Bale, it kind of reinvigorated it. It was more serious. It was more grounded. And Christian Bale was really able to play up the kind of playboy aspect of it. Although whoever was involved in the creative decision to make him do that voice...
Yeah.
No, not a good
Have you seen the spoofs?
Yes.
Where it's like, hello. My name is Batman. And I think you're hot.
College Humor has they're pretty crass actually, but they have a really good series making fun of that. But then who came next is Ben Affleck. I never actually saw Ben Affleck as Batman, but by most accounts he was okay in Batman v Superman, and then Justice League, no one came out of that unscathed, at least until the Snyder Cut, because so funny enough, they had to do like pretty extensive reshoots because the version that Snyder had come up with, I don't know the whole politics behind it, but they were like, no, we can't do that, so we're going to hire Joss Whedon, and that's why we have Henry Cavill with the ridiculous CGI upper lip, because he was contractually obligated to keep his mustache because he was filming Mission Impossible 5. So anyway, Ben Affleck, allegedly, you can tell where the reshoots are because he went from being fit for the role to when they called him up, and he was kind of going through a divorce. I think maybe there was a little bit of, drinking going on or something like that. Speculation, sorry, Ben. But he's not quite as in good of shape. And so you can tell from scene to scene, like, oh, that's a new addition, that's a whatever. Back to Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson, in my opinion, has outgrown his reputation as that guy from Twilight. You need to check out some of the stuff he's done. He has really dived into
sparkle.
No, he's dived into like, I wouldn't say art house cinema, but maybe like independent. He's chosen some very challenging roles. Check out like, oh crap, what's it called? The Lighthouse. That's a really damn good performance.
Honestly,
High Mind.
He wasn't that bad in Twilight. It was the girl. God. All right, look, this is a statement that I am willing to make. I don't even know her name.
Kristen Stewart.
Kristen Stewart is the worst actress on this face of the earth. Worst actress, period. And all she does, every single line, is she forgets her lines and just stutters. That's it.
Slight combat.
Got anything to say about that?
Yes. You have to see her in the right role also. She had a very small role in a movie called Into the Wild back in, I think, 2008. It wasn't Jack Kerouac, but it was kind of like a Jack Kerouac type story. Plus, 2 years ago...
I have seen her in other things, and she's still an idiot.
Well, how about this? Maybe she's like wine. She got better with age. She was in a movie a couple years ago called Spencer, which is about Princess Diana, and she plays Princess Diana. I thought it was a really damn good performance. In some scenes, it's uncanny how much she actually looks like the original or the real Diana. But it's not just, oh, she has it physically down, because that's the makeup and the costuming department. She's good. But it's also a really artsy-fartsy type movie that most people probably wouldn't appreciate, so I can't imagine you would like it. But it is a good performance.
I hate her acting skills with the bottom of my soul.
Well, keep an open mind. She's been good in other things. And Robert Pattinson, I never saw The Batman because it was 3 hours long, and it felt like I had to invest quite a bit of time in order to see it. But I trust he probably did okay. Yeah.
All right. And with that riveting conversation about what's her face? I don't care.
It was riveting, and it started with Michael Keaton as the best Batman.
Yes, that part was good, but the actress she's gonna be my Voldemort, my she who shall not be named.
Kristen Stewart.
No. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So two 15-minute allotments of walking per week. Do that for 2 weeks just to see if you can keep up that consistency. If you can't, figure out a way that you can. Now try to add a third one in there. Now that you've done 2 solid weeks of 2 15-minute walks scheduled, and I know that 2 15-minute walks a week doesn't sound like much, and really it's not, but it proves something, and it actually is effective when it comes to schedule time allotment. Time allotment is the first thing when it comes to adherence towards fitness and having a fitness regimen and consistency. If you can prove that you can do 2 15-minute sessions, then you can do 2 15-minute sessions. It doesn't have to be walking. Now, if you can do 3, and maybe you can rearrange some things and extend those times. If you can or can't, the next step is still the same. Mm-hmm. Next, find something heavy and lift it. Inside that 15 minutes, you can go to the gym, or you can buy some dumbbells, or you can get a resistance band. Just somehow get something heavy and lift it. Over your head, under your chin with a squat. Somehow pick an exercise and do it inside that 15 minutes. And so you've already dedicated 2 to 3 15-minute windows into your week. And now you're going to change it from walking to I'm going to walk, and then at the end, I'm going to do 1 squat. Mm-hmm. Or at the end, I'm going to do 1 dumbbell press. That can grow from there. So really, it's just like a trickle effect. It's a snowball effect. You start small, and then you see some of the benefits. You keep adding to it slowly. You don't have to jump straight into a 5 days a week, 1 hour a day thing. It can start small, and you just try to keep it going as a little tiny flame, and try to grow it and take care of it until it becomes a regular, expected part of your life, and everyone else around you expects you to be doing that as well. Mm-hmm. So that's the third thing, is accountability. Whenever you can keep it private until step 3. Get those 15-minute walks, and then tell people that you're doing those 15-minute walks. Tell people that, hey, at Monday at 6:30, I'm gonna be doing my my walk and with my dumbbell, playing around with my dumbbells. And tell your wife, tell your kids, tell whatever. Tell everybody, hey, this is my time. Because if you don't have me time, then all of your energy is dedicated outwardly, trying to take care of your job, trying to take care of your house, trying to take care of your family, trying to take care of your car, trying to take care of everything else but you. And you need that you time. Mm-hmm. And so putting an importance on that. I don't care if it's just video games. Putting an importance on having some me time. That is step number 3 with the accountability. There we go. That is self-accountability as well. Mm-hmm. So that's basically the 3-step plan. That's how you get started. Now you can expand it once it's an expected thing, because the biggest barrier that is stopping a lot of people from starting when it comes to I don't have time is all of these people, all of these things that you're externally taking care of. Those are the time constraints, and none of the arrows are pointed inwards. And so if somebody else is saying, okay, well, one of the things that you're taking care of is saying, okay, I'm expecting you to have this me time so that you can be a better person and take care of me better. So that it's kind of like a mutual benefit kind of thing. So like for example, I have a client who he did not have any time whatsoever. And then we literally wrote down every single hour of his day for 7 days in a week, because he has the same schedule every single day. And I was like, well, instead of spending time with your family right after work, can you be an hour later? And he was like, well, yeah, but I'm exhausted by the time I get home from work. I was like, well, you putting in that hour and on only Tuesday and Friday, that's it. Just Tuesday and Friday, be an hour late. They'll understand, and you're going to find out that you're in a better mood. You're going to have more energy. Your life is going to change for the positive, and you're going to be a better dad, a better husband, a better all-around just human being, because your hormones are going to be in check. You're going to be stronger. You're going to have more energy. You're going to have a better outlook on life. The mental discipline, all these things that you're going to gain is just going to be from those 2 hours a week right after work, instead of going home to your kids. And yes, spending time with them is important, but the quality of time that you're going to have left with them is going to be that much sweeter. And so that's one of my major arguments when it comes to a consultation with somebody that is just a busybody. So if that's you, contact me. We can talk.